Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. But if you're new here, my name's Tyler and I just do consistent content on all things related hockey in the NHL overall. And as we know, the New York Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens have been subject to plenty of trade rumors, especially over the past couple weeks from just a Montreal Canadiens side of things, especially as we all know Max Domi and Phillip Danault have both been in plenty of trade rumors and trade interest when it comes to Max Domi, given his contract situation, because he is an RFA now after being on a bridge deal for 2 years at a cap at just over $3 million. And then when it comes to Phillip Danault, the interest has been because of his uncertain future with the Montreal Canadiens and knowing that he is not very happy in the situation with Montreal, especially after their playoff run, their impressive playoff run that they had this year, that Danault sees Jesperi Kotenieni and of course Nick Suzuki and views himself as an odd man out in that sense. And I don't blame him, because when you look at that center depth and the prospects continuing to come up with the likes of Ryan Poehling and others for the Montreal Canadiens, Danault will surely be the odd man out sooner, if not later. But when it comes to this overall situation, how the Rangers tie into things, well, they need help at that center position. And yes, I love Phillip Danault. He's one of my favorite players on the New York Rangers roster. I've been a huge fan of his since he first got drafted in the first round back in 2017 with their later round pick. But Danault is a little uncertain. The Rangers, I don't know how they feel about him going forward. I would love to see him in a second line position next year in that top six, cooking along the likes of possibly Artemi Panarin and Alexis Lafreniere, or, maybe not Lafreniere because he's a left wing unless Panarin plays on his off wing. I'm not sure, but regardless of whoever's on those wings, I think that would be great for Danault in that top six. I would love to see what he can do, and I think he will eventually get that chance either as a centerman or a left winger. But I believe the Rangers are still planning to address this center position with the likes of Ryan Strome probably being on the way out. And this is all trade talk rumors assuming that the Rangers would part ways with the likes of Ryan Strome, because they can't afford to keep Ryan Strome and also get the likes of a Phillip Danault or a Max Domi, especially. There's just no way. Similar with Tony DeAngelo, I'm not sure what his future holds with the Rangers. I might discuss it in another video, because this is only the beginning of many videos I discuss when it comes to the Rangers and their trade rumors. I didn't want to do it all in one though, because it would be way too long and I wouldn't be able to get all my points out. But when it comes to DeAngelo, that's a different situation. Talking about Strome, he's in basically the same situation as Domi, both RFAs and looking for a big payday, probably around the same of 5.5 to 6 mil if I had to guess. But when it comes to Strome, assuming that he's gone and the Rangers would take a possible deal with the Montreal Canadiens for the likes of Max Domi, I get it. It seems a little bit more like a stretch, because he would definitely deal with a haul of a return, and the Canadiens, of course, would be looking to get as much as humanly possible. Domi might not even get dealt, but because of him, of course, firing his previous agent, having a new agent in Darren Ferris, who is the agent of Mitch Marner, and other NHL players, I do believe that has led to more uncertainty. Even though Marc Bergevin has come out recently and said that he has been in talks with Max Domi, won't elaborate much besides that, but has stated that Domi has not asked for a trade. He's still uncertain on what the future holds for them and the Montreal Canadiens going forward, but that has been said. So it is a little bit better for the Habs side of things if there are Habs fans watching this that don't want to see Domi go. But I'm still not sure. I think Domi will very well get moved, or at least a strong possibility given his contract situation and with the depth that the Montreal Canadiens already have. Because if you look at Domi this season, he had a decent season, but not nearly as good as the one before. He had his career high season last season with the Habs with 28 goals, 44 assists for 72 points, but this season only had 17 goals, 27 assists for 44 points. Obviously, almost like a 9-day difference, but Domi fluctuated throughout this lineup, playing more on the wing at times, and with the emergence of Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kotenieni in the playoffs especially, who's really showing what the Montreal Canadiens were looking for when they originally drafted him a couple years ago. He looks like he has a very promising future there, but because of that center depth situation and this kind of uncertain offense going forward, Max Domi surely looks like one of the odd mans out for sure. So how would he look in a New York Rangers situation? I think he would honestly be perfect for the New York Rangers. I know that there are a lot of Rangers fans that don't like Domi because he is more of a pesky type player, if you will, especially Brendan Lemieux. We all know their relationship, which is not good from the fights and interactions they've had in the past in junior and of course at the NHL level. And it is ironic given the fact that, of course, Lemieux's father being Claude Lemieux and Ty Domi for Max Domi. That's pretty awesome. Two of the biggest agitators in NHL's history during their time, especially. It is funny how things could come full circle if Domi ends up on Broadway. But Domi, imagine him along the likes of Artemi Panarin and whoever would be on that right wing, whether it be likes of Pavel Buchnevich, but I don't think he would if a deal were to happen. I think he'd be the odd man out, but I'll get to that in a second. I think having the likes of Domi with Panarin would be ridiculous, because look, Strome had a 59-point season this past year. Great. I'm really happy for him. Do I think the Rangers are looking at him as a long-term option? No, and I don't think they want to look at him as a long-term option. He definitely struggles a little bit defensively, not that Domi is light years better. Domi is a very solid player overall, has great playmaking ability, can get in the nitty-gritty, and while he is smaller in stature at 5'10", just under 200 pounds, a 25-year-old centerman, is still in the prime of his career, and I think he's still going to get better before he gets worse, honestly. I think last season was a good flash of what we could see from Domi in the right situation. The Rangers with Panarin, who knows what would happen. I could easily see him being averaging 70 to 80 points a season with the likes of Panarin, because while Strome wasn't a complete product of Artemi Panarin, he definitely benefited, and there's no doubting that. And same thing if, say, Alexis Lafreniere would be on that line eventually. That would just be deadly. But I would love to see Domi in a New York Rangers sweater. He would bring that grit to the Rangers, unlike the Tanner Glasses and the Cody McLeods of the world, or even the most recent Michael Haley's. Not a complete goon, a guy who isn't necessarily going to fight constantly, but will if needed. He's just a pesky player, gets in the heads of the opposing team, and would be great for the playoffs especially, which the Rangers are now getting more into a win-now stage over this next decade. I completely expect them to have plenty deep playoff runs with this prospect pool. And thank you, of course, to the likes of Jeff Gordon, John Davidson, Chris Drury, all of them for rounding this team together from being in this retool/rebuild to surely being a playoff and eventually cup contenders. You just love to see it. But getting more onto Max Domi, as I said, he will command a big, of course, cap hit. 5.5 to 6 mil would be my guess. I don't know what the length would be, but definitely long term. And are the Rangers willing to commit to something like that? I'm not sure, because you would have to give up, of course, that late first round pick, that 22nd overall pick, the likes of Pavel Buchnevich, most likely. Buchnevich had over a 40-point season, but with the depth on the wings when it comes to the Rangers, he is expendable now. So moving him would basically be a swap with Domi, because Buch could just very well go where Domi was in that lineup on the wing at times. But Buch also has 1 year left in his RFA at a cap hit of just over 3 mil. So similar to Domi in that sense, but he is not an RFA yet. He still has 1 year left for the Montreal Canadiens to work with, which would be enticing for the Canadian side of things, having help on that wing. But also on the fact that you will have to probably throw in a prospect too, assuming that Domi would sign an extension with the Rangers as part of this deal. And I'm not sure if Jeff Gordon is willing to give up such a big haul when they can definitely address the center position in many other ways, even throughout the organization, if they want to stick with Phillip Danault, possibly moving up into that top 6 next year, assuming Ryan Strome is moved. I'm not sure, but when it gets to Phillip Danault's side of things, that makes it more realistic and more interesting, in my opinion. Danault, if you don't know him, of course, 27-year-old centerman, was drafted in the first round back in 2011 by the Chicago Blackhawks, and also Max Domi was drafted in the first round back in 2013 by the Arizona Coyotes. I've been following him since juniors. I love his game. But going back to Danault, he has been one of the best two-way centermen in the NHL and really gets slept on. I don't think people seem to realize that, because Danault is another not flashy centerman by any means. And Danault this season, of course, had a very strong season, 13 goals, 34 assists for 47 points, and had a career high season last year with 53 points and 41 assists, both career highs there. But he was a Selke nominee last season. He was 7th in Selke voting. That's ridiculous. People don't seem to realize that when it comes to Danault. He has 1 year left on his contract as well at 3.08 mil, and then of course would be a rental because he would be a UFA. So assuming that deal would happen, it would be a contract extension, because I don't see how the Habs would trade Danault with him just being a rental. They want to get as much of a return from him as possible, and rightfully so. But if the Rangers land a guy like Danault, that would be great too, because while he isn't as flashy as Max Domi and is a little bit older, his two-way game is just phenomenal. One of the best in the NHL. Would be huge for the Rangers, as they have defensive struggles, and you need to address defensive struggles by more than just the defense itself. You need to help that offensive defense as well. So having Danault in that top 6 or top 9, possibly being on the third line, if not the second lane, he'll move up. I'm not sure. But Danault would definitely help the youngsters around him, especially in that top 9. And on that penalty kill, he would easily be the best player for the Rangers, because yes, Jesper Fast may very well be on the way out for the Rangers. Not sure if they'll be able to sign him to a contract extension. I know that they both want to make it happen, but I don't think the money will be there fast. So he might hit free agency, and if so, that's only more incentive to get a guy like Danault that will help you defensively, especially on the penalty kill. The Rangers definitely need it now and going forward. So it'll be interesting to see. I think when it comes to a deal like that, the Rangers could easily get rid of one of a Pavel Buchnevich and maybe a pick, but I think Buchnevich might be enough. That's just my opinion. If not, if you're Habs fans and you're like, no way, then let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this, honestly, because I'm still unsure. I'm not sure if the Rangers will go for either of them, but I know the interest has been there from all the reports and writers I've seen from the Rangers. Rangers and the Habs side of things, and of course TSN and SN just coming out with the rumors regarding both Domi and Danault. I'll make sure to leave some of those articles I find in the description down below for you. But let me know in the comments below, Rangers, Habs, and hockey fans overall, would you like to see one of Danault or Domi going to Broadway, playing for the New York Rangers? I think it would be great. I understand the sense behind both of them possibly being on the Rangers, but obviously it would be one or the other. I don't see the Habs giving us both, and I don't want both either. That would just be silly. But the Rangers would have a lot of decisions to make, would have to try to make the cap work. Ryan Strome wouldn't be able to be part of the Rangers' future, and he wouldn't go to the Canadiens into a trade, obviously, because why would the Canadiens go for a guy like Ryan Strome in the exact same situation? It just wouldn't make any sense, especially with their center depth from their young core with Kotenieni and, of course, Ryan Suzuki, etc. Nick Suzuki, I should say. But I'm not sure what the future holds for these two teams, but I do know the Rangers are obviously interested in a top 6 centerman, and the Montreal Canadiens have two that they could offer up. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I would love to see Domi in a New York Rangers sweater. I think he would be a perfect fit for them. Oh, baby. Oh, on the likes of Artemi Panarin and possibly Lafreniere, Capo Caco, whoever. That would be disgusting. Because just imagine what Domi could do with this kind of Rangers offense. Because he had a 72-point season with the Montreal Canadiens that don't have the kind of weapons that the Rangers do. At least not last season, especially. They don't have Artemi Panarin. They don't have Mickey Zibanejad. They don't have a lot of the high-end scoring prospects that the Rangers have now. Like they do now. They have a great prospect pool, and they're getting better and better. But when it came to how Domi performed a year ago, he didn't have guys around him like he would on the Rangers roster currently. So it makes you think just how much better he would be than Ryan Strome in that position on that second line. But let me know all your comments below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't checked out my previous videos regarding trade rumors or just playoff series reviews, make sure you do if you like this kind of hockey content. And if you do, hit like and hit subscribe. Thank you all so much for everyone that's been following me thus far. It truly means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Now help us reach 1K, because once I get there, I can start doing live streams on various things regarding hockey commentary itself, the draft, things leading up to the draft, or just having hockey discussions with you lovely folk live. I would love to do that and just answer questions as like a Q&A type thing. I think that'd be really cool. But we're really close there. We're over halfway there. We're almost at 600 subs. So help us reach there. And trust me, you won't regret it. This is only the beginning on this channel. But thank you all so much again, guys. Like I said, plenty more trade rumor mill videos to be expected regarding the New York Rangers and other teams overall in the near future. I have plenty of content that is going to be coming out, and I really hope that you enjoy. But thank you all again, guys. Let me know all your comments down below. Would love to hear some proposed trades as well. I think that'd be great to hear, and I'll be back very, very soon.